This video is strictly for educational purposes only. I do not condone or glorify the usage of drugs.
What if I told you there's a natural plant extract that's up to 22 times stronger than morphine, a powerful compound that is legal and barely anybody knows about it? I've reviewed over 150 different substances on this channel, and today we're adding another to that list. The final boss of Kratom Alkaloids, known as 7-hydroxymetragenine, or 7-O. 7-O is one of the primary reasons why Kratom gives amazing pain relief and can produce opioid-like effects. However, in isolation, 7-O can be 10 times more potent and 500 times more concentrated than regular Kratom, which is why 7-O is considered to be one of the strongest opioid-like substances that's legal. Because of that insane potency, companies have started isolating it or even semi-synthetically producing it to create things like tablets, drink shots, powders, and even disposable vapes. These aren't your grandma's Kratom capsules. These are highly concentrated medical-grade extracts. 7-O is the most powerful active alkaloid found within the Kratom plant. While it does occur naturally, it's only present in trace amounts, making up just around 0.01% of the actual leaf. It wasn't even isolated until the early 2000s. Researchers found that while Kratom itself is relatively mild, 7-O could be responsible for most of its opioid-like effects. This discovery changed how people viewed Kratom, from a gentle herbal supplement to something that might actually have real potential and risk. Recently, isolated 7-O products have emerged online and in local stores, marketed as potent alternatives to Kratom and opioids. It's still relatively new on the consumer market, so it's not super regulated yet. Who knows what some of these companies are putting into their products, especially if they don't have lab tests available. 7-O is not to be taken lightly. Proceed with caution when you're researching this stuff. Just a heads up, the content in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. I do not endorse or encourage the use of this substance. Do not attempt to replicate anything you see here. For the full uncensored version, check out my Patreon. The feeling of 7-O varies heavily on the dose that is consumed. A low dose should feel mild and stimulating. It will give increased energy and focus, similar to a caffeine boost. A medium dose balances stimulation and sedation, leaning more towards relaxation. This dose will have noticeable pain relief, a stronger sense of euphoria, and mood elevation. A strong dose leans heavily into sedative and opioid-like effects, making you feel heavy and couch-locked due to the intense sedation.
The couch lock is strong on this one.
This can make the user feel significant pain relief and pronounced euphoria, but that often comes with a foggy, hazy mental state that can cloud your thinking.
Whoops, there it goes. Yep, my brain stopped.
Furthermore, it's not that uncommon for 7-O to make the user feel dizzy or nauseous or constipated, especially if you're continuously taking it throughout the day or week. High blood pressure is less common, but it can still cause the itches by making your body feel extremely itchy all over.
Nothing is worse than having an itch you can never scratch.
Based on human studies, 7-O hits peak blood levels around 1.2 to 2 hours after taking it, and the effects can last 4 to 6 hours, sometimes longer at higher doses. The half-life is around 7 to 9 hours, so it sticks around in your system. Orally, the onset is 30 to 60 minutes, then peak for 1 to 3 hours with a total duration of 4 to 6 hours and a mellow afterglow. This is probably a good time to talk about the serious side of 7-O use. Despite being legal, this is not a safe substance to be used willy-nilly just because it comes from a plant. 7-O has a high affinity for the same opioid receptors targeted by prescription painkillers. This means it can be habit-forming, especially when used frequently or at high doses. There's also the issue of tolerance buildup. 7-O hits hard and fast, but the more often you take it, the less effective it becomes. This leads users to chase that initial rush, increasing their dose over time, which can spiral into dependency before you even realize it.
You're a drug addict waiting to happen.
And the withdrawals of 7-O can be just as severe as opioids if abused. 7-O is no joke. It can be more habit-forming than actual opioids because of how strong and concentrated it is. There's not many studies on it yet either, so there's a lot to be discovered about 7-O, whether it be good or bad. Combine that with the fact that most 7-O products are completely unregulated, you're playing a risky game. No lab tests or transparency, you could be getting something way more potent or dangerous or carcinogenic than advertised.
I'm in danger.
I've seen a lot of people claiming that this substance ruined their life or they spent their life savings on it. People are going broke just to be hooked on this stuff. If you take a large dose for a few days straight, you will literally get dope sick. Do not try this at home, fellas. That's not just me covering my ass, that's real advice.
Don't try this at home.
You may ask, why do people use it then? Well, there are a few reasons. First, there is no denying that 7-0 gives significant pain relief. For people with chronic pain, this kind of relief can be life-changing, especially if they're looking for an alternative to prescription opioids. Second, some people use it as a tool to taper off traditional opiates. Since 7-0 hits similar receptors, it can ease withdrawal symptoms like body aches, anxiety, and restlessness. It's not a perfect solution by any means, but for some, it's the only thing that gets them through the worst of it. Third, there's the recreational side of it. Let's be real, some people use it to catch a buzz. The euphoria, the body rush, the sedation, it can mimic the effects of strong painkillers. It's not as intense as something like fentanyl, but the appeal is obvious, especially when you can buy it legally. Legal or not, I do not recommend using this. In the United States, 7-0 is technically legal on the federal level, but because it's a Kratom Alkaloid, it can still fall under local Kratom bans. Other than that, it is legal in most areas across the globe, with a few exceptions like being banned in Australia, France, and Finland. That being said, it is very possible that 7-0 gets Kratom as a whole in legal trouble if it starts catching on and getting out of hand. Companies have already begun to market it in a myriad of different forms. I've seen it being pushed in pillar tablet form, flavored liquid drink shots, powder drink mixes, sublingual strips, and even smokable disposable vapes. A lot of you guys keep commenting that I need to try this, so I wanted to see for myself what all the hype and fear was about, which is why I got my hands on a product that claims to contain a legit dose of 7-hydroxymetragenine. After looking into a few different companies, this one seemed pretty legit. The reviews look authentic and they provide lab tests that can be accessed online, which is a good sign. So here's the game plan. I'm going to start with the low dose first, which is about a quarter tablet, just to ease into it and get a feel for how 7-0 actually hits. I'm pretty sensitive to opioid-like compounds, and plus I have zero tolerance because I don't really use them. Once I get a feel for the initial effects, I will take the rest of the full tablet, which should feel like a strong dose, and really test out the upper end of the effects. Testing both ends of the spectrum by taking both a low and high dose should give a better picture of what 7-0 actually does. That way, I can be the test dummy and you can sit back, chill, and learn from my experience. Real quick before we jump in, I'm not here to glorify or promote this substance. I'm simply testing it out and showcasing my honest experience. This video is for research documentation only. Don't go copying what you see in this video. For real, I do not recommend trying this. I would show a close-up of the product itself, but that seems to flag the YouTube algorithm every time I do that, so we're gonna leave that on Patreon. If you see anything that's blurred out at any time, that's intentional to comply with YouTube policies. Uncensored version is on Patreon for research transparency. Now, let's get started. What I have here is 7-hydroxymetragenine in a small pressed disc-like format. The company itself is 70MZ. The color of the disc is orangish brown with little black dots scattered all throughout it. It appears to be solid and round with a smooth, grainy-like texture. I honestly can't tell if I'm supposed to chew or swallow this, but I guess we're gonna find out. It says the main ingredient is Metragena speciosa kratom leaf extract. On the back it says, not for sale to minors, keep out of reach of children and pets. Makes sense because I had to submit my ID when I ordered this. Product contains naturally occurring plant compounds from Metragena speciosa. Prior to use, consult with a professional healthcare provider to determine if this product is right for you. May cause discomfort. Always start with a lower dose and increase as needed, which is what we're gonna do. They got a disclaimer on here too, which covers their ass. It reads, by using or purchasing this product, you assume full responsibility for any adverse effects and or health complications that may result from its use. This product may be harmful to your health and has not been evaluated by the FDA and is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure or prevent any disease. Let's pop this bad boy open. It doesn't really smell like anything. I mean, I'm literally sticking that up my nose straight up and it doesn't really have a scent. One dose is half a tablet. So we're gonna break it into a quarter tablet, take that as our low dose, and then take the other 3/4 as our strong dose, while also kind of feeling the first quarter as well. This tablet is a total of 14 milligrams, so a quarter tablet's gonna be about 3.5 milligrams. So I kind of want to chew it. I feel like I should swallow it, but I'm gonna chew it and just see what it tastes like. Tastes like nothing. Yeah, it tastes like nothing. I could have swallowed that, but chewing that, it tastes like nothing. Very bland. If you want to see me consume it and close-ups of the product and everything in between, Patreon is the place to be. All right, we got 3.5 milligrams down the hatch. We're gonna wait and see how I feel, and I'm gonna report back with the effects.
A few moments later.
All right, so it's been about 90 minutes since I took the small dose, and here's what I'm feeling right now. So far, it is fairly mild, but definitely noticeable. In a way, it feels like I took a brain-boosting nootropic. I have a subtle boost in energy and focus, almost like a really smooth caffeine hit without the jitteriness or tension.
A damn fine cup of coffee.
My headspace feels clean rather than foggy, and it feels more stimulating than sedating. My thoughts are a bit more streamlined and focused, kind of like a sense of calm concentration. It's not intense or overpowering at all, although with a small dose, that's to be expected. The energy I have right now feels like I woke up from a good night's sleep and took a cold shower. I feel functional and surprisingly sharp. I don't have that much of a body high, or at least I can't really notice it. If anything, it is a very faint body warmth and ease of tension. I did not experience a euphoric rush or anything forceful, but the mood elevation is there. To be honest, I'm totally fine and satisfied with how I feel off this small dose. I'm feeling jolly and I'm in a great mood right now.
I'm in a great mood tonight.
Something tells me that tripling the dose like I'm about to do is gonna hit really hard. I got the rest of this pill here, and although I probably could just swallow it, I think I'm gonna chew it again just because it tastes like nothing, and also probably would just make it hit harder. All right, down the hatch it goes. It doesn't really taste like anything. It has a slight sense of bitterness. Other than that, pretty bland. That wasn't bad to down at all. I could have swallowed that, but chewing it probably is going to make it hit faster, and it's not like it tastes bad. That small dose is low-key got me vibing right now. This 7.0 stuff works even at a low dose. I have a feeling that large dose that I just took is going to hit really, really hard. Who knows though? We only got one way to find out. So let's give it some time and see how I feel.
Later.
Okay, so it's been about 4 hours since I ate the rest of that tablet, and here's what happened. Right off the bat, the come up hit me pretty hard. While the small dose took about 45 minutes for me to feel it, the large dose kicked in around the 10-minute mark and only continued to get stronger for the next hour. I felt strong sedation in my frontal lobe area right here. It felt like there was a heavy object in the front of my head weighing down on me. This part was not very comfortable, and it was giving me a headache.
My brain hurts!
I think this is what people mean by the brain fog it causes. I felt kind of loopy, and it was a heavy sensation in my head that was pushing me down. When I would get up to walk, I felt kind of disoriented and dizzy. I also felt a slight wave of nausea on the come up. It wasn't intense enough where I thought I was gonna throw up, but the sensation was there, and I did not enjoy feeling nauseous.
This whole thing just makes me queasy.
I felt more euphoric on the large dose, but it wasn't a huge jump from what I got with the small dose. You'd think that tripling the dose would give triple the mood boost, but that's not how it worked for me. Although the large dose was 3 times higher than the small one, it did not feel 3 times more euphoric. Kind of a letdown, because the only silver lining on this stuff, for me at least, was the mood boost, and it didn't really do that much more at a large dose. I'm guessing I probably got some good pain relief, but I wasn't really in pain to begin with, so that was somewhat hard for me to assess. In fact, I was in more pain than not, because the headache I got was pretty painful. Oh, and I got the itches pretty bad. I was constantly itching my body all over for hours, from head to toe. I tried taking cetirizine, which is an allergy medication similar to Benadryl, to try and calm the itching down, but that didn't seem to do much or help at all. Even 4 hours later, I still have lingering itches. Also, I didn't get much of a body high, which was somewhat unexpected because that was commonly reported with hefty doses. Most of the load was in my head, and it felt like a minor migraine. It didn't make me too tired, and I wasn't nodding off or anything. I was somewhat sedated, but like I said, it was more from that load on my forehead that was weighing me down. I actually fairly enjoyed the small dose. It put me in a great mood, didn't make me nauseous or itchy, and didn't weigh me down. The large dose just gave me a headache and had me constantly scratching my body all over due to the itchiness.
Itchy, why am I so itchy?
Sure, the euphoria was cool, and I'm sure the pain relief can be useful, but the side effects made it uncomfortable and not worth it. Even though 7.0 is not technically an opioid, it sure felt like it was. The mood boost was great, but it wasn't worth the side effects in my opinion.
I don't feel very good.
Overall, the large dose was not comfortable, and I did not like it. I had a painful headache for over 3 hours, and the itches were driving me crazy. That being said, the initial low dose I took felt pretty nice. It was clean, didn't give me any major side effects, and had me in a fantastic mood. Then again, I'm not an opiate guy, never really was an opiate guy, so it looks like this substance will be a one and done for me.
Tomorrow.
So I just woke up the next morning. I figured I should document this. I have an awful headache. I don't get headaches like this at all. It feels more like a migraine or just pain in my head. I'm gonna contribute this to the opioid use. I'm not really 100% positive if it is, but it is coincidental that I just took a massive opioid dose yesterday, and I woke up with a awful headache today. Just something to note, you know what I mean? I got this, I got some healing supplements right here, got a lot right there, and then I got egg sandwich. So I'm gonna try and heal, but dude, the head pain not it.
If you want to see the actual lab results, I share them over on Patreon, and I briefly break it down so you can learn how to spot real versus fake products. Plus, you get exclusive access to uncensored content. With that being said, watch this video next to see me review the legal psychoactive mushroom Amanita muscaria. This is one of the most legendary mushrooms of all time, and yet not many people know about its effects. My name is Fish and I stay low key. Peace out.